In the city of Merefa, Kharkiv region, a tragedy occurred that shocked even the most cynical. In broad daylight on a city street, a woman in her 60s clung to the windshield of a territorial recruitment center, TRC minibus. Inside, her son, just taken from the street for mobilization. The minibus started moving. She didn't let go, walking and crying as she held on. A strong man in uniform stepped out, roughly pushed her away. She fell to the ground. Eyewitnesses say police stood nearby and did nothing. Telegram channels later reported she died in the ambulance. Official statements differ. The TRC claims no wrongdoing, and police say she refused hospitalization. But this wasn't the first death linked to TRC actions. In Kremenchuk, a man died right after passing a military medical commission. In Sumy, 40-year-old Yevgen Krivodyb was beaten in the TRC building. He died in the hospital. Merefa's case is different. A mother dying in the street, trying to stop a war she didn't start to save her son. In Khmelnytskyi, a stabbing during an attempted draft notice delivery. Desertion cases are in the hundreds of thousands, but no one is being tracked down. The infantry is vanishing, TRCs are selling draft exemptions and extorting widows. Ukrainians themselves are leaking military enlistment office coordinates to the enemy. Germany declares diplomacy is dead. Meanwhile, BTRs are being stolen, and TRCs are relocating to mobile units. What is really happening in the Ukrainian army, and why is the truth being hidden? Just a day after Merefa, another violent incident. In Khmelnytskyi, TRC officers tried to serve a draft notice. The man pulled out a knife, stabbed one TRC worker, wounded a police officer while fleeing. 10 police units were dispatched to detain him. It wasn't the first case. In Odessa, another draftee stabbed a TRC officer. In Rivne region, civilians attacked a recruitment officer during a document check. This isn't chaos, it's a pattern. Society no longer sees TRCs as legitimate. Streets turn into battle zones, not against the enemy, but the state. War veteran and journalist Volodymyr Boyko writes, "There is no more infantry in Ukraine." Official data backs him up. In the first half of 2025 alone, over 107,672 criminal cases were opened for desertion and AWOL. Almost half of all such cases since the war began. But only 3.3% led to charges. The rest, shelved, forgotten, uninvestigated. Commanders stopped removing deserters from personnel lists, keeping up the illusion of a staffed army. Boyko says only 30,000 to 50,000 troops are truly on the front lines, mostly drone operators. The infantry dead, wounded, or fled. Meanwhile, public figures like Sternenko, Vakarchuk, and Leshchenko hold ranks but never see the front. They buy luxury homes, play concerts, DJ at clubs, while ordinary Ukrainians die. In Zaporizhia, a TRC officer demanded 1.3 million hryvnia from a fallen soldier's widow to process benefits. She paid 1.2 million hryvnia, then he demanded monthly fees of 75,000 hryvnia. His wife, also a TRC employee, was in on it. In Dnipro, a TRC officer extorted money from an entire football team, threatening mobilization. He sold blank draft forms to draft dodgers. In Vinnytsia, a village council deputy demanded a bribe from a widow for her son's demobilization. Draft notices are no longer law, they're a business. The poorer you are, the closer you are to the front line. Life has a price tag. TRCs are now official targets. Ukraine's National Security Council confirmed. Ukrainians are sending TRC coordinates to Russians. Verified cases exist. Telegram is flooded with drone photos labeled for TRC. In response, the army calls this a campaign to sow chaos, but the public sees through it. MP Fidiento says TRCs will decentralize. No more central offices, no lines. Processing, exams, documents, all at different mobile points. It's not about efficiency, it's about survival. TRCs are now hiding, not from the enemy, but from their own people. In January 2025, a Ukrainian soldier left his unit in a BTR, armored personnel carrier. Under the excuse of refueling, he drove hundreds of kilometers home to Poltava region. He left the vehicle by the roadside and went to nap in a nearby forest. He was arrested by the SBU and returned to the unit. The court sentenced him to 7 years in prison for desertion and theft of military equipment. Compared to the 90,000+ desertion cases this year, he's the exception, not because of the crime, but because he got caught. Former Aidar commander Yevgeny Dicky said in an interview, "If someone supports Russian strikes on TRCs, even in a comment, SBU should come and arrest them, sentence them under Article 111, treason." He also said 500,000 more Ukrainians must be mobilized and TRC strikes won't stop until autumn. The message is clear: criticism is betrayal and punishment must follow, even for a social media comment. In Kiev's Tryashna district,
A 48-year-old tire shop owner was shot point-blank in his car. The attacker took nothing. Police suspect a hit. Other recent cases: in Zaporizhia, a man shot a stranger and then killed himself. In Vinnytsia, men in military uniforms shot a police officer. Commander Alexander Matiash said in a YouTube interview, "You owe me your life because you're not buried in your backyard." The state remains silent, but society is cracking. The rear now feels like a battlefield, only without an enemy in uniform. Behind the headlines, a quiet crisis. Dozens of Ukrainian servicemen have taken their own lives in 2025. According to prosecutors, 33 suicides were officially registered. NGOs say real numbers are much higher. Veterans suffer from PTSD, isolation, despair. Over 10 million Ukrainians are at risk for long-term trauma. Government help is limited. Lifelines exist, but often they're too late. The war kills on the front line and in silence, behind closed doors.